Hello, everybody. Jimmy the Baker back again, coming to you live from my house. It's wonderful to be home and broadcasting to you. We're going to talk about cookies for the next few minutes, but I ask you, what do these have in common with mom? Now, of course, you're going to say mom always baked cookies, right? But my mom, when she made cookies, would make cookies, she'd put them out just like dinner, and she'd watch how we ate them. If she didn't like the way our reaction was, in other words, if we didn't start wolfing them down, she wouldn't make those cookies again. She'd make another set of cookies, and she'd keep going until we were happy. And that's when I know that I have the Italian mother syndrome, because all cookies are the most difficult thing I've had to develop because everyone has this sentimental favorite. And the question is, how do you bake the sentimental favorite, something so emotional? So, for example, let's first talk about what you get. And so far, what I see on the offer, I only see the combo of four each of the chocolate chip, of the oatmeal butterscotch, and of the rainbow butter almond. If that's all that we're offering today, let me know. But I think that's just that offer. Now, you have, okay, so you can get either the combo of four each of the butter almond, the chocolate chip, or the oatmeal butterscotch. And today we've lowered the price from $48 to $44. That is 3 pounds of cookies. And I don't want to forget, these are on Easy Pay. 5 easy pays of about just under $9, 8.80. So 3 pounds of cookies are going to come to your house. Let's get into what each one. And combo, by the way, is in short supply. I personally, if I don't know that I could really do this on main channel. What I love about Q2 is I could really speak from the heart. I think the combo, first of all, for us as bakers and manufacturers, that is, the combo is really difficult to pull off because we think about, we've got to bake all three flavors before we can start packing them. But for a consumer, I think you get the best of all worlds. You get to try the new chocolate chip, you get to try the butter almond, and the newest kid on the block is the oatmeal butterscotch. So we saw with the cranberry oat coconut cookie, which is probably our best reviewed and our best selling cookie, that you love oats. But we also know over the years that you love butterscotch. So I kind of crossed an oatmeal cookie without the spice. If you remember, our oatmeal cookie's got plenty of spice. It's got cinnamon, it's got nutmeg, it's got ginger. This is nothing of it. This has both butterscotch chips and vanilla chips. Now you can see the way that breaks slightly, it bends slightly before it breaks, and you can see plenty of filling in there. When we put chips in a cookie, in our industry, maybe if you could use general rules of thumb of 5 or 10%, we go up to 15 or 20%, meaning that each cookie you get, a full 20% of it is chips, because we believe that the chips are the thing that carried over. What you're seeing there is the oatmeal butterscotch cookie with both butterscotch chips and vanilla chips in it. Now, each of these cookies we say is about 4 ounces. Frankly, because we want to err on the heavy side, you're probably a little bit bigger than that. But all of these cookies are big, and there's a reason we bake big. But let's get through each of them before I get to the philosophy of why we bake so big. Okay, let's talk about mom. Let's talk about the Italian mother syndrome, and let's talk about which cookie would you want to eat. So here's the chocolate chip cookie that I labored for. Here was a chocolate chip cookie that drove me absolutely crazy. Almost the same recipe, but what do you notice? There's no chips on top. And if I told you there's the same amount of chips in this cookie as in this cookie, you'd say, no way. But these are loaded with chips, but they didn't show on top. It took rendition after rendition. And that is when I know my mother is sitting on my shoulder, because we do not finish until we know, quote unquote, everyone has a full stomach and a smile. So the chocolate chip cookie, loaded with semi-sweet, large chocolate chips, not small ones, not chunks. And frankly, we talked about how much goes into a chocolate chip. One of the things I noticed a trend over, particularly in the early 2000s, we started making cookies like candy. And I'm too old for that, I would say. But however, to me, I was looking for a traditional milk dunking chocolate chip cookie that bends slightly before it bakes, but most importantly has crispy outer edges, and that if you dunk it, it doesn't fall apart. We want to be able to submerge this in milk. And the funny thing was, the other night I was on air with this cookie, And I have to confess, it's been probably about 10 or 11 months since we declared this the final rendition of the chocolate chip cookie. And we didn't do the milk dunking test. We usually do that in the lab. Sometimes we even do it in production. We bring it into the office, we pour cold glasses of milk because we want to know that it is compatible, right? That's the Italian mother syndrome. This cookie, I was on the air the other night and I thought I was off camera. I dunked it into an ice cold glass of milk. I took a piece off. It was out of the sight delicious. I didn't expect the milk to have that much effect. So if you're going to buy all chocolate chip, it doesn't matter if you buy the combo or not, you got to get that cold glass of milk, because this and the oatmeal butterscotch cookie you could submerge them into the milk. You could keep them there for 3 or 4 seconds, even up to 5 or 6 seconds. Let that milk go in and take a bite. These chips, we say, are semi-sweet, but they're slightly on the bittersweet side. So the milk is really going to kind of, as you hear me say when I talk about the crumb cake, I like competing flavors and completing textures. The milk is really going to offset that bitterness of that bitter chocolate. We say it's semi-sweet, but this particular chip, I think, is on a little bit on the bitter side. Now, let's go over one more time what you're getting. You're getting 12 4-ounce cookies. The offer is you can either get all oatmeal butterscotch, all chocolate chip, or all rainbow butter almond rainbow cookies. Well, if you want that combo, only 5 dozen remain, and that is, as usual, the most popular. Of course, it's the one that's the hardest to make, but we see that you love variety, and I truly do believe it's our best work when we can give you that much. But look, this is what you're getting. You're going to get this box dropped off to you with 12 large cookies. This is well over 3 pounds of cookies. Usually $48. Today it's $44. Now, frankly, that's $3.65 a cookie. I paid $3 for a cookie that was not half, was about that size at a cafe the other day. $3. The cookie looked delicious. It wasn't very good, not because I'm a snob, it really wasn't very good, but $3.65 for a quarter-pound cookie that comes to you individually wrapped. Before I keep talking, let me make sure that we cover America's favorite. Now, let's tell the tale of the rainbow almond cookie in the New York metro area. For years, I supplied the local area airports, LaGuardia, Kennedy, all that stuff, and I noticed that the sprinkle cookie was right on up there with the chocolate chip cookie, sometimes even leading the way, outselling it. And I talked to my customer who was managing the airports, and I said, when you think of sprinkle cookies, you think of kids. I don't really see a lot of kids in airports. You don't see, aside from families, but how could this possibly be outselling chocolate chip? And they said, it's not kids buying it, it's you. It's butter. This, I guess, screams nostalgia. Okay, let me take you to a place. It's around Christmas time, and there was a sugar cookie that we all grew up on. It had a little butter, it had a little shortening in it, but it had a touch of almond in it, almond flavor and vanilla. That cookie, those of you my age can remember what I'm talking about. It was squeezed with a gun. Our mothers made it, and I loved that cookie because it was a sentimental favorite of mine, but I did really like it. Anyway, I carried that butter almond through. This was originally just a plain sugar cookie, but when I bit into it, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, and I had to make it great. So I went back to my mom's recipe cards, quite literally, okay, cups and teaspoons and tablespoons, and I had to figure it out. I had to blow that thing up to 300-pound recipe. That's what the butter almond sprinkle is all about. Now, I'm using, there's times when you want to use butter, and there's times when you want to use shortening, and there's time when you want to use both. When you want to get kind of that thick kind of, I can't describe the texture to it, but it does bend before it breaks. But this is a chewy, buttery, almond, sweet cookie. Honestly, do you have to dunk this in milk? I don't think so. I think that it's big enough that you're gonna love it. And by the way, let's talk about why am I selling so big cookies that are so large? So scientifically speaking, I want that soft center and I want the crispy edge. And We've made 2 ounce, 3 ounce, 4 ounce, 5, and even 6 ounce cookies. What we're finding is the 4+ ounce cookie has enough of that center and enough of that crunch. Yeah, it happens on all different sizes, but you don't get the same ratio. I know it sounds crazy, but when I go into the test kitchen and I do rendition after rendition, often we get to great taste. And that's about 70% of the way there. We want great texture after that. And that's why we settled on the 4+ ounce cookie. I'm sure you'll see smaller cookies in the future, smaller cookies and lots more of them. But right now, the jumbo cookie, I'm not intending for you to eat this in one sitting. They come individually wrapped. You're going to put most of them in the freezer, keep a bunch of them, especially the chocolate chip, in the refrigerator. I love eating those chocolate chips nice and on the chilled side. Some of you like to microwave them. I'm kind of the weird man out. I don't love hot cookies. I think that a lot of the flavor notes are hidden with the heat, that when you put a cool or room temperature cookie in your mouth, which is 98 degrees, you kind of get that melting sensation. So I don't want to get all scientific on you, but I just want you to know it's not pure insanity that I go for the size and the texture. It's because of taste profiles. And frankly, locals who live around the bakery know that they can stop by any time and engage in a taste test. And often we ask people to close their eyes when they're tasting. And that's why the 4 ounce keeps winning, because the odd thing is sometimes we'll hand somebody a 2 ounce cookie with the same amount of flavor and hand them a 4 ounce cookie with the same amount of flavor. And they say, clearly, the larger one has more flavor. So there's something about a larger bite, a larger cookie that really gives you the oomph. For the sake of those of you who need it, let's review it one more time. You are getting 12 cookies. You can do the combo, which is 4 rainbow. And we're on last call on the combo. Combo, which is the butter almond sprinkle, the butterscotch, the oatmeal butterscotch, and the classic chocolate chip cookie. Those are last call. Remember, you get 5 easy pays of $8.80. $44 reduced from $48, which means you're paying $3.65 a cookie. Come on, you know that. Everywhere we go now, prices are up. I think we're doing a great job here at the right price, because you're getting a large cookie for the amount of money that you normally spend on a lot smaller piece of cake or cookie in a local cafe. Now, remember, the individually wrapped, it's total of 3 pounds. Butterscotch oatmeal is the newest flavor, and that is a combined of butterscotch chips. Now, many of you who bake at home know what I'm talking about. That famous chocolate company that makes a butterscotch chip and a vanilla chip. I combine that with the oatmeal. I'm taking a page of that cranberry oatmeal coconut cookie that everybody likes. We've got coconut in here. We've got the vanilla chip. We've got the butterscotch chip. There's so many competing flavors in here. It comes out with a very unique taste that I really like. It sounds overly sweet, but it's not. It's really not. Those flavors bounce back and forth off of each other. The vanilla comes in just at the right moment. This cookie was probably 30 or 35 renditions before we got it right. Locals who came in, and there is a walking trail right next to the bakery, so people know on Saturdays to stop in, because Jimmy is crazy enough to work on a Saturday and there's always something happening there. But this cookie took the most amount of renditions because some people love butterscotch, some people love vanilla. We had to get the right balance between it. But remember, you're getting 12 of these. 12 butterscotch, 12 chocolate chip, or 12 almond rainbow. But if you hurry and get it, that combo is going, because we're on last call. 4+ ounce cookies, put them in your freezer, keep a couple in the refrigerator. Cannot go wrong. So now, speaking of crazy, let's go from crazy to nuts. Get it?
I like it.
Okay. That's my segue.
I love it. Get nutty. I love it.